today we're making a mosaic inspired flower with air dried clay. My name is LaDara McKinnon, a teaching artist at Clayworks in Charlotte, North Carolina. This video is presented by Clayworks in Charlotte, North Carolina and sponsored by Culture Blocks, a community partnership between ASC, Charlotte Mecklenburg Library, Mecklenburg County Park and Recs to bring arts and culture experiences closer to where residents live. Culture Blocks is funded by Mecklenburg County. What came in your kit is air-dried clay, acrylic paint, a skewer, and a paintbrush. What you will need from home: a workspace, a small dish of water, and items found around the house for texture. Mosaic art. Mosaic art is a pattern or image made of small glass, stones, or ceramic pieces. It is held together with plaster. This type of art is very colorful and used as wall decorations or installed into floors. Let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and take about 1/3 off of my clay. Then I'm gonna make a slab, a flattened or rolled out piece of clay out of the bigger chunk of clay. Extra clay, the bigger chunk, into a rectangle. So I'm going to squish it, and then I'm going to make it into a slab by pressing it down. This is going to be our support for our coils. And I want this to be about a pinky's width of thickness. So it looks like I have a little ways to go. And I'm going to flip this around every now and then when I am flattening out my clay. This looks good to me. So I'm going to take the end of my stick here and just kind of roughly draw out what I want my flower to look like. Maybe something nice and big here. Some grass. If you don't like what you've done, you can take a little bit of water on your finger and erase. So I want 2 flowers, so 1 big one and maybe a little small one here. And I'm roughly drawing this out. Does not have to be perfect at all. So that looks good to me. I'm gonna go ahead and move my slab to the side so I can start to make some coils. Coil, a rolled out rope of clay like a worm or a snake. Take your extra clay, squeeze it in your hand, and act as if you were cold. And roll back and forth until it becomes a really thick coil. Back and forth. And then you're going to split it in half and then start to roll on the table or whatever surface you're working on. So back and forth. We just want to get it a little bit thinner. I'm going to test this out and see if I like the proportion. I think that looks great. So now I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze off a little bit of that clay. And we're going to map out everything before attaching. So I can actually use this coil for grass down here. So now I'm just going to roll this out even more to be thinner. So back and forth. Nice and thin. And I know I want this like this. Pinch off any of that extra clay. When you're laying out your pieces, you want them to be kind of snug like a mosaic, but you don't have to fill up the whole surface like a mosaic is. My pieces will be snug at the bottom for foliage, and at the top is going to be a little bit looser fit. And then I need to map out my leaves. So I'm going to roll a small ball pinch, and then squeeze the ends to make it look like a lemon. And again, roll a small ball. And this one might be a little bit big. So roll, squish, and press the ends. And it should look like a leaf. I'm going to make a spiral for the center of my flower. So another thin coil for that. Roll back and forth. And start to make it into a cinnamon roll. So roll, 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 nice and tight. And then I want circles for my petals. So I'm going to roll about 5 or 6 of these. Roll it in your hand. Make sure they're almost the same size. So these look about a good size. I need another flower, and this one's gonna be itty bitty. And I'm gonna press these before so I can keep on mapping out. I might need to do half of size actually. That's pretty big. I don't want to press it all the way down. So a little press and twist, twist, twist. And I'm going to do that to all of these. So go ahead, roll, 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 a little press and twist. So since that's done, this looks really, really good. I think I want to put like a bee instead of a flower. So I'm going to start out with a small coil. Kind of make a heart. So a small coil. Try to make kind of like a heart. That's going to be like the wings. And then I'm going to make a small coil for the body. So roll. I love that. That looks so good. And I'm going to use this plastic bag so I can move around this a little bit easier. So I love the way this looks. And I think I want to make one big leaf and keep this one here. So nice and chunky, squeeze a little bit and pinch. And you can roll out that ball. I already have these. There we go. So that looks a little bit more proportionate. I'm pretty happy with this. And I think it's time to attach. I'm probably going to use this extra clay for more grass. So we might need that later on. So I'm going to move everything and smooth the edges. All right, so I'm gonna take one finger and a little bit of water and just smooth it out. I love how this looks organic, even though we want it kind of like a rectangle. And then I'm gonna start to score these lines. Score and slip. Score, the process of incising surface of wet or leather hard clay in a cross-hatching pattern before applying slip or joining clay. Slip is watered-down clay used for joining clay together. For this project, we will be using water. So we're gonna score all of them with the sharp end of our stick, since we know where we want everything to go. All right, I went ahead and scored where I'm gonna be placing all of these little pieces here. I went ahead and scored this whole mass here because there's gonna be a lot of small pieces that are gonna go on here. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and score each individual piece and attach it with a little bit of water. I'm gonna start with this nice stem here. Use a sharp end, score, 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 and tap on a little bit of water with your finger. And I'm gonna do this to each piece. So score, tap on a little bit of water, and place it down. For this stem to look like it's peeking out of the grass, I am gonna overlap here. That's gonna make it look like it's just peeking through out of the grass that's coming up. So I went ahead and slipped and scored my grass and my stem on. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the leaves and the beads and the petals. I'm just starting from the bottom up so I have enough room for everything. So let's go ahead and slip and score. So I'm putting these hugged against, so it looks like the stem is coming from behind. So I'm just gonna overlap it just a little bit. I need one more of just enough of clay to fill in that little spot there. How cute is that? And I'm just smoothing everything out with a little bit of water. To make this piece look like more a mosaic piece, we are going to be painting the background black. The black is going to give it more of a plaster look. We're going to do a wash of black over everything and then wipe it off just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So I have my black paint. I'm going to water it down with some water. So my clay is still wet. And I'm just going to paint very roughly the slab in the background. Don't worry about those petals, we'll cover it up later. I'm going to wipe it off with a paper towel or a baby wipe. I have a baby wipe, and I'm just going to drag and a little bit of tapping to get that off of the petals. This is going to give it a really nice rustic look. So just getting a new area. And it's okay if some is still left, okay? Don't be nervous about that. We want that to get in the cracks. And we're gonna let this dry for about 24 hours. Our piece is officially dry. Now it's time to paint. I'm gonna start out with mixing some greens. So I'm gonna do a lot of yellow and a little bit of black to get a earthy green. Just a little bit of black. Then I'm going to get the green right out of the tube and add a little bit of black to that to make it a little bit more earthy. My light first and then we go with the dark. And a hint of the green right out the tube. I'm going to put the dark at the bottom for a shadow. I'm going to make it look like this is closer to us and this is farther away. Brighten this up just a little with just straight yellow. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do a blue for my butterfly. A little bit of white dots. And I want to go with like a pretty color for the center that's really pop. So I'm going to go with orange, so yellow and a little bit of red. And then I'm going to do red petals. And I pick red because it's complementary to green. This looks so good. I love the different tones of green. Looks amazing. I'm going to mix a little bit of white into my green. This is going to be a really nice highlights on my flowers. And I think I'm just going to keep the raw clay for my butterfly. I love it. But one thing we can do, I really love the texture of the black. So I'm not going to really cover that up. I love the way that looks. It really looks like black plaster that comes on the mosaic. And there you have it, a mosaic flower made out of air dry clay. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you to our partners.